This is Tickle Bee, and it's an adorable good time. This is a kid's game from Schaper, came out in 1956. Schaper Toys was started in Minnesota in 1949, and actually they started with Cootie. I've reviewed a number of their really cool plastic games. We've done Don't Spill the Beans and Don't Break the Ice. Essentially, a lot of the Schaper games were incredibly simple, usually hinged on a plastic kind of toy element, and were great for young kids. Now, Tickle Bee is pretty special because it uses magnets as part of the gameplay in a really ingenious way. Players will use a little wand to try to convince or tickle this little bee through a maze and hopefully not get stung along the way. Players will have to track how many times they get stung, because if they get stung once too many, they are stung out and have to start again. It looks really simple, but let's see how challenging this actually is. Why don't we get the game on the table and take a look? All right, this is great. Now, obviously this camera angle is really bad for showing off this game, so we're gonna switch it up in a little bit for some gameplay. But first, let's dive in, starting with the box. This has to be one of my favorite cover arts I've run across so far for a kid's game. This is just great. I like it when they have little taglines in front, but this tickles me. I love the little bee that seems alive as you tickle him from flower to hive. He wiggles and jiggles and scoots along. Watch out, he'll sting if you tickle him wrong. They wrote it in rhymed couplet. I mean, come on, okay, that pleases the theater kid in me, all right? I love all of the colors, his infectious smile, his little hat. Oh, it's great. The back of the box is blank, and one thing that I really do like about this, okay, before I put it away, all right, the back of the box is blank, but this is something that I really like. The instructions are printed on the underside of the lid of the box, and if you've been watching my program at all, you know this pleases the couch. I just love when they print instructions on the inside of the game box. It makes it so easy to keep them safe and sound for the life of the game. So again, and Schaper's good about that on a lot of their games. The board itself is a little vacuformed maze with a printed acetate cover. Now the acetate is stapled here, and then you get a little wand with a magnet in it, and the bee, where is he hiding out? There we go. The bee, little plastic bee here. Now he's red. I did think it was kind of funny that the art on the acetate is 3-color, yellow, green, and brown. And then you've got the red bumblebee. I would have thought they would have gone with like a yellow bee and maybe red for the color of, you know, the houses and stuff, but I can see where it might have looked a little tougher to differentiate when you were looking at this one. So, you know, whatever. Either way, I love the art style, both on the cover and on the game board itself. Speaking of which, let's take a closer look and actually play. All right, so we have this little pen with the magnet, and we're gonna tickle this little bee. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Tickle, tickle. There we go, and we get him moving around. It's coming up to the cat. Get under the cat. The bed spring there. Now this is getting kind of challenging, because now we gotta get that, gotta contend with this corner here. And into the doghouse. Okay, so now I gotta mark a sting on the scoreboard with this little ball right up here. All right. Tickle, tickle. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Come on. Come on, little bee. It's harder than it looked. Oh, it's a little tough here. Let's go. Come on. And into the chicken coop. Tickle, tickle. Tickle, tickle. Oh, okay, so he did get me on the other side of that art there, but he clearly hit the plastic, so, or the acetate there. All right. And, oh, that was a good one. Okay, there was a solid sting. And let's get him under the bridge. And into the orchard. Tickle, tickle. So you can actually maneuver the bee's backside and steer him a little bit. This is, all right, here we go. Just a little, It takes a little bit of a finesse here, but there you go. And through the barrel, and he's back home. That was cute. I had a good time. What a fun little kids game. It's very simple, but it's perfect for its intended age. So let's take a little bit of a closer look. Oh, here we go. It's a little loud to hold on to because this is just a vacuum formed little maze here. And then there is art printed on this clear acetate. And you'll see it's stapled in with these pretty thick steel staples here, so not even glued on. And actually what I did notice was they do mention in the instructions, should there be a malfunction, like the bee gets wedged into a part of this maze, they encourage you to bend back the staples so you can get underneath and free him, and then bend the staples back into place. So there was actually some thought into why they chose to affix the acetate to the maze using staples instead of glue. Also, glue would have worn out by this time and fallen off. So even though it's a little bit annoying to see, like there's one staple here that drives me nuts. It's right through the word bed and bed spring on part of the maze. For the most part, the rest of them aren't too bad. Yeah, another one in pickle barrel here down at the bottom. But, you know, not a big deal. And I don't think this was a horribly expensive game. But construction is very simple. You have this nice little string here that holds onto the wand. The wand is nice, decent, chunky plastic. However, I've seen some images online of later versions of this game that have a much more substantial wand. And given that you have this little bit of storage space, the way this is designed, it actually fits into the bottom portion of the box. You wouldn't even really need to remove this from the box to play. In fact, I would argue that's probably how it was most frequently played, was just lift the lid on the box and start playing, because this little flap here on the top of the board is perfect for giving you space for the wand to sit in storage. And overall, the footprint of the game is very, very small, which is not something you normally see with a lot of these little kids gimmicky games that usually have like a plastic or toy element to them. And as far as Schaper games go, this is probably the smallest footprint of any of them that I've got. The packaging for Don't Spill the Beans has a lot of empty space, but the nature of that game requires a lot of space to store it just because of how the parts break down. Don't Break the Ice is very similar. Even though it has a folding frame, it's got all these big 3D cubes. Cootie is probably the next smallest one that I've seen, and that's because the game piece is organized very nicely into the box. So kind of interesting to consider that space was still at a premium even back in the 50s, but this game is so much fun. I thought the art was so cute. Just the joy on the front of the box is absolutely infectious. I'm so glad that I got a chance to take a closer look at this game. This is just fantastic. So I guess, have you played Tickle Bee? What did you think? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.